Hi to everybody. So we are coming into the next lecture on the egg, that is egg quality part 2. In the part 1, we have talked about the exterior quality of the eggs. In today's lecture, I will be talking about the interior quality of the egg. And in the coming lecture, I'll be talking about the various doubts the consumer normally asks to us. So I have put in the form of question and I'll be talking about that in the coming lectures. So coming to the interior quality of the table X, so we know that in the interior there is albumin, then there is a thick albumin and the thin albumin. Then we have the yolk. The albumin and yolk is separated by the Vitellian membrane. So in the albumin, we'll see different qualities. How thick is that albumin? Whether it has changed into watery form or not. Then in the yolk also we'll see the shape and we see the color and how firm the yolk is. And again we'll see in the interior quality it should be free from the foreign matters, free from the yolk defects. There should not be any yolk defects. It should be free from the bacterial and fungal spoilage. So let's understand one by one. First, we'll see the air cells. So this is the air cell. You can see the small space here. This is called as the air cells. So immediately after the egg is laid, there is no air cells. But once the egg is laid, after some time, you can see there is a formation of air cells. Why it is so? It is because the once the egg is laid, its temperature will be 40 degrees centigrade. That is the temperature of the bird. And the inner liquids will start contracting because due to the cooling effects, because the surrounding temperature is less, so the content will start cooling. And we know that the rate of cooling will be faster inside compared to the shell because the shell is thick. So the inner shell membrane gets separated from the outer shell membrane. So the inner shell membrane will get separate from the outer shell membrane and it forms what we call as the air cells. These air cells are commonly found on the broader end. It's commonly found on the broader. In 99% of the egg, we'll find the air cell is found on the broader end. As the days goes or the age of the egg take place, what happens is this air cells will keep on increasing in size. This is because due to the loss of moisture from the egg. So we know that there are around 10 to 20 pores which are not covered by the cuticle. So through that pores, the moisture will get lost. So the air cells keep on increasing. So here we can see air cell is very small. You can see this is little more larger, and here you can see it has become more larger or larger. It has size has increased. This is basically because of the loss of moisture from the egg. So let's see the definition. What is air cell? An air space formed between the outer and inner shell membrane. Why it is occurring? Because of the difference in the rate of contraction between the shell membrane, between the shell and the inner content. So the inner shell membrane gets separated from the outer shell membrane and we get what we call as an air cell. How it is formed? It is due to the difference in the cooling. Where it is seen? It is normally seen on the broader end of the egg. Does it grow? Yes, it will grow if you are not preventing the loss of moisture. So we have to prevent the loss of moisture. So if you are doing the shell treatment means you have to do it immediately after the egg is laid because the loss of moisture and carbon dioxide will be more in the initial stage after the egg is laid. So here you can see the air cells. The depth of the air cell is a rough indication of the age of the eggs. That says if the depth is more, it indicates it is more aged eggs, or there is a more loss of moisture and carbon dioxide from the egg. And running air cells, here the air cell is broken. So this is the air cells. You can see this is the air cells. You can see a clear cut margin is there. This is the air cells. The air cell is broken, and one or more bubbles will be formed in the white. So this air cells will be, the broken air cells will be moving, and this is called as a running air cells. Since it moves, it is called as a running air cells. In this egg, we can see there is a two air cells. One is here, which is, and another is down, which is not seen clearly here. And when you move, this air cells will also be moving. So they are called as running air cells. So once you just move the egg, the air cells will also be moving. So that type of air cells is called as running air cells. What is ringed air cells? The air cell is very large. So you can see this is a clear cut of ringed air cell. The air cells is very large, sharply defined. So it have a well-defined border. It will have a well-defined border. The border will be of gray or brown edges. So we'll have a gray or the brown edges. So they are called as a ringed air cells. Then we have the tremulous air cells. Tremulous means the air cell is not fixed. Normally the air cell will be fixed. It will not move. But in some abnormal conditions, due to improper handling of the eggs, the air cells may break, or there will become a moving air cells. So tremulous air cell means the air cell is not fixed but slightly moved, which is seen during the candling. So when you move the egg slowly, if you move the eggs, the air cell will also moving. Such types of air cells, this is slightly moving. It's not very strongly moving. It is slightly moving. Such type of air cell is called as tremulous air cells. If it is strongly moving, it's a movable air cells, free movable air cells. The free movable air cells are air cells completely movable. It keeps on moving in the egg white. So that type of air cells are called as free movable air cells. The why it is occurring, the above two condition occurs due to improper handling. So let's understand the changes in the egg interior quality after the egg is laid. So once the egg is laid, there is a loss of carbon dioxide take place from the albumin through the pores. So we know that there are 10 to 20 pores are not covered by the cuticles, and the carbon dioxide that is inside the egg. Normally, if you take in the very fresh egg, around 55 milligram, approximately 55 milligrams of carbon dioxide will be present, and this carbon dioxide will be lost through these pores. So this loss is more during the first few hours after the laying. So if you want to maintain the quality of the egg, we have to do the shell treatment immediately after the egg is laid. The faster you do, better will be the retention of the quality of the egg. So once the carbon dioxide is lost, to maintain the pH of the egg, the carbonic acids, the weak acids that is present in the albumin will break into carbon dioxide and water. I'll repeat. To maintain, once the carbon dioxide is lost, the pH will start increasing. So egg, what it will do, it try to maintain the pH, for which the weak carbonic acid that is present in the egg will break into carbon dioxide and water. So till the carbonic acid is there, the carbon dioxide will be formed, and some quantity of carbon dioxide will be lost, and the moisture will also be lost. So moisture will lost. So due to the loss of moisture only, the air cells became larger and larger. Okay. So we can see here the addition of carbon dioxide is held by the weak solution of carbonic acids. Carbonic acids breaks and supply carbon dioxide and water. So carbonic acid that is present in the albumin will break and it supply the carbon dioxide and water. The release of carbon dioxide, that's what I told, the carbon dioxide when it gets lost, the pH of the egg white increase from 7.6 to 9.7. So normally in the fresh egg, the pH of the albumin will be around 7.6. Due to the loss of carbon dioxide, the pH may keep increasing and it can come up to 9.7 or more. Yolk, the pH will increase from 6 to 6.8. And you can see here The mainly this is related to the temperature. If the temperature is high, normally this gas escape will be more. If humidity is less, then the escape of moisture will be more. So it all depends upon the time, how much you are exposing to the higher temperature with lower humidity. So that will all affect the loss of carbon dioxide and water. So once the carbonic acid is broken down into uh, into carbon dioxide and water, what have the osmotic pressure will be varying. So here the osmotic pressure will be less because of the formation of the water. So the water will start entering into the yolk through the Vitellian membrane. So once it enters, what will happen, we'll be discussing in the coming slides. I'll repeat, the water will start escaping, will start entering into the yolk from the albumin because of difference in the osmotic pressure. This osmotic pressure difference is because of the breakdown of carbon dioxide, breakdown of the carbonic acids into water and carbon dioxide. So let's understand the albumin or the egg white. So normally in a good egg or a fresh egg, there are two types of albumin. There is thick albumin and thin albumin. Why there is a thick albumin and thin albumin? The thick albumin, in thick albumin, ovomucin, the protein, the ovomucin is almost 4 times that of the thin albumin. So in this thick albumin, in the albumin, the ovomucin is usually found as a complex with that of lysozyme. Okay, we know the another protein that is a lysozyme. So it forms ovomucin lysozyme complex will be formed. And the variation in the thick and the thin is because of the concentration of the ovomucin. The ovomucin is the one which gives the gel structure. So here the concentration of the ovomucin is more compared to this area or this albumin. So this is a thick albumin, which also called as chalaciferous layer, and we have the thin albumin. And this is the chalaza. This is the chalaza which keep the yolk in position. So let's see why the albumin is gel-like. It is difference. Here you can find it is more thick. Here it is thin. It is because of the difference in the protein ovomucin. Here it is 4 times more than in the thin albumin. Why the white became thinner as egg ages increases? So as I told in the last slide, as the carbon dioxide is lost, what happens is the pH will start increasing. So once the pH is start increasing, the ovomucin lysozyme complex will break. So rise in the pH, the electrostatic complex between the lysozyme and ovomucin is start breaking at a higher pH. So when it goes towards the alkaline pH, the ovomucin lysosome complex will start breaking, and the disulfide bonds in the ovomucin will be breaking. Due to this breaking, what happens is the thick albumin will also become very thin like or watery, or the viscosity will become less, so it will start flowing. So in the old eggs, we can say the thick albumin will not find sometimes, or the quantity of the thick albumin will be less. That also indicates it is an old egg. I hope it understand, because the ovomucin lysosome complex will be break. Why it breaks? Because of loss of carbon dioxide, the pH will start increasing. So once the pH start increasing, the ovomucin lysosome complex will break, and the disulfide bonds in the ovomucin will break. So the gelling property will be lost. So it became thinner and thinner. So when you break the egg, and if you find there is no thick albumin, or the thick albumin is very thin like, then we can say it is an aged egg. Then coming to the yolk quality, the yolk generally it is round and firm when fresh. As the yolk ages, so I already talked, the water will start entering from the albumin to the yolk because of difference in the osmotic pressure. So it will be enter the yolk from the albumin. This is albumin. From here it will be entering the yolk. So it will be expanding the Vitellian membrane, and in the final stage, sometimes it will break, the Vitellian membrane will break. So the yolk will become flattened. The yolk will be become flattened. So in the beginning, it will be very round and firm. You can see here, it will be round and firm. But once the moisture start entering, it will expand. The vitelline membrane will expand and the shape will be lost. The round shape will be lost. So if more water enters, sometimes the vitelline membrane will break and it will flattens. So the yolk flattens and lose its round shape. That's what we discussed. And other things we can come with is the blood spot. And in the table egg, we are not expected to have the development of the embryos. So the development of the germ spot is not should not be there. A meat spot on the yolk surface. Sometimes we come across a meat spot on the yolk surface. Again, we can see the visibility of the yolk. The visibility is more than the egg quality is less. Normally, normally what happens is when you do candling, you can see here, when we do candling, we are not able to separate, we are not able to differentiate the yolk and the albumin because the albumin will be thick and we will not be able to differentiate the yolk and the albumin easily in the fresh egg. But once the albumin became thin, as the age increases, the yolk will be becoming very distinct. The yolk will become very distinct. So if the yolk is very distinct, then we can say it is a aged eggs. So you can see here the yolk shadow. In fresh egg, the yolk shadow is not distinct. So we will not able to find the yolk, we will not able to differentiate the yolk and the egg. As the age increases, the thinning of the albumin will take place. So why it is occurring? We already discussed that one. So you can see the yolk is becoming distinct. You can see the yolk is distinct. So this is called as a yolk shadow. So it is called as a yolk shadow. In old egg, outside of the yolk is well defined. So this is a fresh egg. Okay, this is a very fresh egg. After some days, we find some little thing. You can see the yolk is becoming more prominent. Here you can see the yolk is very prominent. The yolk is very prominent. You can see the yolk very prominent. Why? It is because of the thinning of the albumin. So this is comes under the B grade eggs. So it is a B grade eggs. So in the old egg, outside of the yolk is well defined due to thinning of the albumin during the storage. So you can see here the yolk outline is slightly defined. We are not able to differentiate the yolk and the albumin easily. So it indicates it's a very fresh egg. So it is graded under AA, and yolk outline is fairly well defined. So you can see here the yolk is fairly, here it is very outline is well defined. So you can see the outline is well defined. So it shows that it is aged eggs because the albumin has become thin. The outer border of the yolk became very distinct. Coming to the yolk color, normally the chicken yolk color will vary from the pale yellow to orange yolk. So generally the consumer prefer the more yellow to orange color is more preferred by the consumers. So this largely depend upon the diet they take. For example, if you feed yellow corn, then you will get more yellow color. If we feed carrot or marigolds and the free range poultry, in the free range poultry also you can see the color is more orange in color because this will go and feed the grasses, the grasshoppers, the insects, which contain a lot of this carotene. So that gives a more orange in color, or xanthophylls, which is giving the more orange in color. Here, the corn, if you give the white corn, it will be pale in color. If you give the yellow corn, it will be becoming more yellow in color because you know that in the case of commercial poultry farming, the main source of energy is the corn that we use. Okay, so it depends upon the nutrients, it depends upon the feed that I take. The color will be varying. And sometimes the color may also vary if they inject some fat soluble dye or into the feed. Okay, they treat the feed with certain fat soluble dye. So that dye can come also give color to the yolk, like green colors we can come across. So you can see here the fresh egg with thicker, this is a fresh egg. It has a very round shape and we have the thick albumin here and the thin albumin. This is very small in size. Here you can see the thick albumin has become very thin and it has spread out. The viscosity is lost, so it is spreading out. The older egg with thinner egg white and flattened yolk. Because of the entry of the water, the yolk, you can see this is more round in shape. This has started flattening. So you can see here the well-defined yolk. you can see it start flattening, and it will be the egg content covers a small area. So because of the loss of viscosity as the age increases, it covers a large area. So just break the egg on a flat surface, a small plate or something. On that you break the egg and put it on that slowly. Then we can see if it is a good quality egg means it will have a thick albumen. If it is a poor quality egg means it will have a thin albumen. That is the aged eggs. So you can see here the egg content covers a small area, moderate area, very large area. You can see the large area is covered. White is firm, that's what I told, as much thin. It is reasonably firm, as considerably thick white. Here the egg white has become thin. So it has, since it has become thin, it will spread to a large area. Yolk is round and upstanding. Yolk is round and upstanding. Yolk is enlarged and flattened. So the entry of the water take place. So it becomes flattens. Through the Vitillian membrane, the water will be entering. So the shape will be lost. So you can see here, this is a big gray. You can see it is round, round. This has become flattened. So we can come across, sometimes we can come across the double yolk eggs. Why it is occurring? So this is mainly seen in the young, highly productive laying eggs. It is because the two yolk may be released simultaneously. Two yolk will be released simultaneously, and this two yolk will be moving through the oviduct as in a juxtaposition. That is like this. It will be held together and it will be moving. So the oviduct will assume as a single yolk, and it starts, the secreting glands will secrete the things, and we get the double yolk eggs. So we have seen the egg formation. So this, instead of going as a single yolk, this will be in the juxtapositions, and it will be moving as a single yolk. This two yolk will be moving as a single. Another reason they're saying is when one yolk is lost into the body cavity. So one ova is released, but on that day it is lost into the body cavities. But what happens is in the next day, this lost ova will be picked up by the infundibulum, the funnel, and the next day ovulation will also be taking place, and then that two will going together, and it will also maybe the reason why we get the double yolk eggs. So these are mainly seen highly productive laying egg. Then what is meat spot? So we can see this is a meat spot. You can see this is a meat spot. When you do the candling, you can see a meat spot like this. These are normally found on the albumen, or it may be stick to the chalaza, or on the yolk surface. On the above the Vitillian membrane, we can find it is sticking to the Vitillian. So why it is occurring? This is mainly due to the slugging of the tissues in the oviducts. So when the egg is moving, when the yolk is moving or the egg is moving, there may be a chance of slugging of the tissues of the oviduct. So that is called as a meat spot. So normally the size will range from 0.5 mm to 3 mm or more in diameter. So coming to the judgment, yes, this is a edible. You just remove this meat spot and it can be consumed. So this is mainly found on the albumen. So you can easily differentiate. It will be mainly seen in the albumen, or it may be found in the chalaza, or it may be sticking to the Vitillian membrane. So this is a meat spot. Then we have the blood ring. So here we can see a ring like this. This is seen in the fertile eggs. It indicates the embryo is dead and it is not passed for human conceptions. Now we have the blood spots in the eggs. This is normally found in the yolk. It is found in the meat spot is normally found in the albumen. Blood spot is normally found in the yolk. Why it is occurring? It is because of the rupture of the small blood capillaries. So the blood capillaries may rupture, and we get the blood spots in the yolk. So coming to the judgment, yes, you can pass for human consumption. Just remove that blood spot. So this is not this is not commonly found in the free range birds, because the free range birds feed on the grasses. This grass will contain a particular component called as a rutin. This rutin helps to stop the bleeding. Okay, this rutin plays a role in stop the bleeding. So this is not normally found in the free range birds, because they feed on this grasses and other things which contain a lot of rutin. So this is normally found in or around the yolk, caused by one or tiny blood vessels ruptures. high level of activities. Or this is mainly during the laying time. If you put the birds under stress, or if you chase the birds, in such cases we can come across this blood spots. So there will be a rupture of capillaries, and we can come across the blood spots. This, remember, this is mainly seen in the yolk. Meat spots are mainly seen on the albumin. Pale yolk, this is again depends on the feed that we give. So this is the pale yolk, which consumers normally do not prefer. The color of the yolk is because of the carotenoid pigments. The nutritional values are not affected, whether it's a pale or a yellow or more orange in color. The nutrition fact is not much affected. So you can measure the color with that of the using DSM yolk color fan. So normally the consumer prefer the color ranges from 9 to 12 on the DSM yolk color fan is most desired. Stuck yolk, this is yolk is firmly attached to the shell membrane, because this is mainly seen in the last stage of the spoilage, where all the moisture will be lost, albumin became very thin, and the yolk will finally stick to the shell membranes. Okay, the yolk will stick to the shell membrane. They are called a stuck yolk. Sometimes we come across the worms, round worms in the egg. Some eggs may contain one or more round worms. These are normally the nematodes. The incidence is quite rare, but we can come across this worms also. This is because of the ova transference, through the ova transference mode. That will be from the ovary. It will be transmitted to the egg. Okay, so this is a roundworms again. Coming to the standards for market table X. So in India, we generally follow the four, depending on the weight, we divide it into four. That is extra large, which is 60 and above, then large, 53 to 59, medium, and small. Then again, depending on the weight, we are divided into four. Then again, depending upon the interior qualities and the shell quality, again it will be divided into A and B. Okay. In the A, the shell will be clean, unbroken, sound, shape, normal. Here, clean to moderate, stained, round, and slightly abnormal. Okay. Then air cells, this is another important factor. We'll take the depth up to maximum up to 4 mm. Then it is classified under A and A category. If it is more than 4 mm, then it goes into the B category. Up to 8 mm, it is allowed in the B category. Then white, clear, and reasonably firm. It is also clear and maybe slightly weak, slightly thinning has taken place. Then it comes under the B category. Yolk, fairly well centered, round in shape. All these things comes under the A category. In B category, maybe slightly off center, because as the age increases, the chalaza will also become thin, and it will not be held in the proper position. The yolk is not held in the proper position because the thinning of the chalaza will also take place, and outline becomes slightly visible. That's we already seen. If it is very distinct, then we can classify it under the B category. So depending upon the weight, again in the B category, extra large, large, medium, and small. So thank you very much. If you have any doubt, you can ask, or you can contact me in these numbers or email, or you can see in the YouTube also, Dr. Sadhu Meet Tech. Thank you very much. God bless you all.